Kentucky basketball is an enigma well into the "what else should we expect?" At most programs, a two-game losing streak amid a stretch of so-so performances isn't a cause for alarm. At Kentucky, it can prod every kind of analysis imaginable. The Wildcats, a preseason favorite as usual with their cast of blue-chip freshmen, snapped their two-game skid Tuesday with an unremarkable 78-65 defeat of Mississippi State. John Calipari's team is 15-5, 5-3 Southeastern Conference, entering Saturday's trip to West Virginia, hardly the ideal place for a freshman-centric, turnover-prone team to visit. This Kentucky bunch has on rare occasions dominated, notably against Louisville, but things have tended to be a slog. The Wildcats had an early scare against Vermont. They won their first three league games, against Georgia, Louisiana State and Texas A&M, by a combined 9 points. They turn it over more than is advisable, and they miss too many free throws. Bracketology: Kentucky is a number 5 seed in latest NCAA tournament projection, and so, the tempting question to ask about Kentucky this season is, why are things so difficult? Especially when there are glimmers of what Hamidou Diallo, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kevin Knox and P.J. Washington, among others, can do. The better one might be, why doesn't it unfold this way more often? It's easy to scoff at the question. Calipari reloads with a bunch of potential one-and-done players every year, and successfully cherry-picking from the top 15 or 20 players in each recruiting class yields a lot of victories. How challenging can it be? But it's hard to construct a sure thing, especially when it's uncertain exactly how much of the roster is going to respond over the course of a season. Sometimes, Kentucky's pieces fit together perfectly and either win the national title, 2012, or dominate for much of the season, 2015. Sometimes, the roster is never cohesive and misses the NCAA tournament altogether, 2013, or takes its sweet time figuring things out before making a surprisingly deep run, 2014. Well, they're playing like dirt. For Kentucky basketball fans, angst has no preseason lest we forget the other program with a never-ending revolving door of a roster. Duke fits in this category, too. The Blue Devils haven't missed the field of 68 since Mike Krzyzewski committed to building around guys unlikely to spend a full year in Durham, but they've also endured some brutal early tournament exits as well. Here's looking at you, Lehigh and Mercer. For as much as the one-and-done rule is bemoaned, doubling down on such prospects carries its own set of risks as well as rewards. Yes, Kentucky is never short on talent. Yet did anyone know how this year's group would handle back-to-back losses to South Carolina and Florida? Or how it might respond to the closing weeks of the regular season when a bigger prize awaits in March? There are enough people eager to extol the virtues of veteran players that it's unnecessary to do so here. But from simply a pragmatic viewpoint, those guys understand what's coming, and coaches have a good idea what to expect from and how to improve players they have worked with before. Freshmen have logged 79.53% of Kentucky's minutes. Only one regular contributor from a season ago, sophomore forward Wenyan Gabriel, who is averaging 6.6 points and 5.8 rebounds off the bench, is part of the Wildcats' rotation this year. When the roster is variable, the results are variable. Wobbles are bound to happen, maybe more often than they have this decade under Calipari. So is this Kentucky bunch, with an unquestionably interesting group that includes 4 double-digit scorers, doomed to a forgettable conclusion? Not necessarily, and the power of the unknown plays a role here. It's possible it acquires the toughness Calipari demands as it delves deeper into its schedule. It might not. Then there's another freshman, Jared Vanderbilt, who is averaging 6 rebounds and 12 minutes in his first 3 games since returning from a foot injury. Those numbers are impossible to ignore, and he could prove vital down the stretch. The most encouraging sign, though, is maintaining a Calipari tradition: excellent defense. Only one of Calipari's first 8 Kentucky teams finished outside the top 40 of the KenPom.com defensive efficiency ratings. The Wildcats entered Thursday at number 26. Calipari's ability to coax guys with little intention of spending more than a year in college to commit to playing defense remains his most underrated asset as a coach. Yet it's arguably Kentucky's worst defensive team of the decade, right up, down? They're with the 2013 NIT team. That's the area that needs a fix, and concocting a way to cut down on turnovers is the best, if not easiest, way to improve things. After 20 games, it's clear this isn't 2012 or 2015 all over again for the Wildcats. But there's still just enough mystery about this roster to make it anything from a threat to reach a Final Four to one on the wrong end of a 13-4 or 12-5 upset. It would be hard for anyone, even Calipari, to accurately peg a final outcome for this uneven season in late January. More college basketball. Kevin Ollie already was on the hot seat, and now Connecticut is under NCAA investigation. Virginia keeps rolling with a 61-36 win over Shorthand.